What if telling someone they are incredibly smart is, like, actually the worst thing you could possibly do for their future?
Yeah, it sounds completely backward, right?
It
But it is true.
really is. So welcome to today's deep dive. Today we are exploring a concept that fundamentally changes how we view our own potential.
We are diving into Carol Dweck's best-selling book, Mindset. And it is a fascinating one.
It really is. To start us off, I want you, the listener, to think about the smartphone you probably have sitting in your pocket right now.
Okay, yeah, the phone analogy. I like this.
Right. So when you look at that device, there are basically two ways you can think about its software. Option one is that you buy the phone, and the software it comes with is, exactly what you get forever.
Right, like it never updates.
Exactly, it never updates. But option two is that every few weeks you get a notification for a system update. The phone learns new tricks, it fixes its bugs, and it just gets better over time.
And, nobody would ever buy that first phone.
Yeah.
We all expect our technology to update and improve. We expect it to grow.
But when it comes to our own brains, many of us actually act like we are using that first phone.
Yeah, we really do.
We think our abilities are just permanently locked in place. So our mission in this deep dive is to understand why the most important belief you hold isn't about politics or the state of the world.
Right.
The most important belief is the one you hold about the nature of your own abilities. Like, is our brain really like a phone with an operating system that can never be updated?
Hmm.
Or is it one that gets constant upgrades?
Well, the science clearly shows it is the one that gets constant upgrades. And, this realization was brought to the global stage by Carol Dweck. She is a psychology professor at Stanford University.
Right. Her work is huge.
It really is.
Mm.
Her research over several decades completely changed how educators and psychologists approach learning.
Mm.
She found that the way we think about our own abilities changes almost, every single outcome in our lives.
So, if calling someone smart can actually be dangerous, it must be because of how they view that intelligence, right? Building on that smartphone analogy, Dweck discovered two very different operating systems running in people's heads.
Yeah, exactly. She categorized these as the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. Let's look at the fixed mindset first.
Okay, lay it out for us.
So if you have a fixed mindset, your core belief is simple. It is basically, I'm either smart or I am not.
Right, like it is a switch, on or off.
Yes. You believe your intelligence, your talents, and your abilities are just set at birth. You view your skills as a static number, you have a certain amount, and you simply cannot get any more.
Wow, that sounds incredibly stressful. I mean, if your abilities can never change, then every single situation becomes a test of how much natural talent you have.
Oh, it creates a constant state of anxiety.
Mm.
In a fixed mindset, success is just a relief because it proves you are smart. But failure is absolutely terrifying.
Because if you fail,
Yeah, if you fail at a task, the fixed mindset tells you that you are fundamentally not smart. You interpret the failure as a permanent brand on your identity.
man. Consequently, people operating with this mindset will start to avoid difficult challenges, won't they?
Exactly. The risk of failing is just too dangerous for their self-esteem. They would rather do something easy and look intelligent than try something hard and risk looking foolish.
That makes a lot of sense. So what is the second operating system then?
The alternative is the growth mindset. This is the belief that your basic qualities can be developed, through effort, good strategies, and learning from others.
So you might not be great at something right now, but you believe you can improve.
Right. For someone with a growth mindset, failure is not a lack of talent. It is simply data.
Data. I like that.
Yeah, it is information telling you that you need to try a different strategy. Effort is the actual path to mastery, rather than a sign of weakness.
Okay, wait, let me stop you there and push back on this idea just a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this growth mindset concept, it sounds a little bit like toxic positivity.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Right, like it sounds like one of those motivational posters in a high school gym that says, just try hard and you will be an Olympic champion.
Yeah, the cat hanging from the branch.
Exactly. But biologically, we are not all built the same. Not everyone is born with the physical structure to be an elite athlete or the brain to be a physics genius, no matter how much effort they put in.
Well, that is a very fair critique, and honestly, it is the most common misunderstanding of Dweck's work.
Okay, so how does she address that?
She does not promise that effort guarantees any specific result. She is not claiming that anyone can become Albert Einstein just by trying hard enough. We all definitely have different starting points.
What is the actual claim then if it is not about everyone becoming a genius?
The claim is that effort, combined with the right strategy and good teaching, pushes a person's individual ceiling much higher than they think is possible.
Ah, okay. So it is about your own personal limit.
Right. We are terrible at predicting our own potential. Furthermore, this is not just motivational talk. Neuroscience literally backs this up through a mechanism called neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. Let's break that down for the listener. What is actually happening inside the brain when we put in this effort?
Think of your brain like a thick wild forest. When you try to learn something completely new, like a complicated software program at work, it feels slow and exhausting.
Yeah, you are confused and tired.
Exactly. You are trying to walk through the forest where there was no path. You have to push heavy branches out of the way. But if you keep walking that same way every day, you slowly create a clear path.
Right, the dirt gets packed down.
Yes, eventually the dirt is packed down and it becomes a smooth road. In your brain, these roads are neural pathways.
So every time you struggle and try again, you are physically building a new road in your brain. The connections between your brain cells get faster and stronger.
You got it. The growth mindset is based on physical brain mechanics. Your brain is literally upgrading its software and its hardware at the same time.
Wow. Okay, so if our brains are physically capable of building these new roads, why do so many of us get stuck in a fixed mindset? Like if humans are built to learn, why are we so afraid of failing?
Well, the fear is usually learned and it often starts very early in childhood.
Really? That early?
Yeah, the adults around us accidentally program this fear into our heads. Dweck and her team conducted a famous experiment that perfectly demonstrates how easy it is to create a fixed mindset in someone else.
Oh, I found the setup for this study in our sources, and it is fascinating.
It really is.
The researchers took two groups of children and gave them all some moderately difficult puzzles to solve. And, most of the kids did pretty well on this first set of puzzles.
Right, they were age-appropriate puzzles.
But the critical moment came right after, during the feedback phase.
Yes. The researchers praised the first group of children for their natural intelligence. They told them, wow, you got a great score. You must be so smart at this.
Which sounds completely normal. I mean, that is what parents and teachers say all the time to build a child's confidence.
It seems super supportive, right?
Yeah.
But watch what happens next. With the second group, the researchers praised their effort instead.
Okay, so what do they say to them?
They told them, wow, you got a great score. You must have worked really hard at this. The difference was just a focus on intelligence versus a focus on the process.
And then the researchers gave the children a choice for the next round. They could either try an easier puzzle or a harder puzzle that they might fail at, but could learn from.
Yeah, and the results were immediate and just shocking. The majority of the kids who were praised for being smart actively chose the easier puzzles.
Wow. So by trying to boost their confidence, the researchers accidentally made them terrified of losing their new smart status.
Exactly.
If they tried the hard puzzle and failed, they wouldn't look smart anymore. The label became a trap.
That is exactly it. But the kids who were praised for their effort reacted completely differently. Almost all of them chose the harder puzzles.
Because they weren't afraid of losing a label.
Right, because their praise was based on their hard work, which is something they could completely control. They were excited to keep trying and learning. Dweck proved that we can accidentally create fixed mindsets just by how we give compliments.
Praising intelligence is like congratulating someone for winning the lottery. You are just pointing out that they got lucky with their genetics.
That is a great way to put it.
But praising effort is like congratulating someone for building a successful business. You respect the strategy and the hard work they put in.
Totally.
I want you, the listener, to stop and think about your own childhood for a second. Think about when you brought home a test from school. Were you praised for the final grade, or were you praised for the hours of studying you did to get it?
It is a tough question to ask yourself.
It really is, because that small difference might be shaping how you handle difficult projects at work today.
Absolutely. And if that childhood conditioning sets us up for this trap, we have to look at how we escape it as adults. I mean, how do we break out of a mindset we have held for decades?
It sounds impossible. Where do we even start?
Well, the answer starts with one tiny three-letter word. It is arguably the most powerful word in personal growth. The word is yet. Y-E-T.
Yet. Just adding that word.
Yep. Changing a sentence with the word yet leaves the door open. It means the story is not over.
So how does that look in practice?
Think about a time you hit a wall trying to learn something. In a fixed mindset, you say to yourself, I don't know how to do this.
Right. It is a final statement. You have just closed the door.
Exactly. But if you shift that sentence to, I don't know how to do this yet, you change the entire trajectory of your learning.
Wow, I don't know how to do this yet.
You acknowledge where you are now while recognizing your capacity for future growth.
We see the danger of ignoring the word yet everywhere in the real world, especially in areas like sports and entertainment.
Oh, definitely. Evaluators who are trapped in a fixed mindset only look for natural talent. They look at a person's current ability and assume that is their permanent ceiling.
But history is full of people who were rejected early on by evaluators with a fixed mindset, right? Like Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team because he was not considered good enough at the time.
Which is crazy to think about now. And Walt Disney was fired from an early newspaper job because his editor said he lacked imagination.
Walt Disney. Lacking imagination. That is wild.
And Oprah Winfrey was told she was not fit for television news.
The people evaluating them just thought they do not have the skills today, therefore they will never have the skills. But Jordan, Disney, and Oprah clearly operated on a growth mindset.
Right. They understood they simply were not at the top yet. They focused on building those neural pathways we talked about.
And this concept goes far beyond careers or sports, doesn't it? Our sources show it dramatically affects how we handle personal relationships, too.
Oh, massively.
But how does mindset dictate our relationships? We usually think of love as an emotion, not a skill you learn.
Well, that is exactly the fixed mindset view of love. In a fixed mindset, people believe that love is a magical, static thing. You either have it or you do not,
So it is like a fairy tale.
basically. They believe a perfect partner should be able to read their mind. They think, if we are truly meant for each other, this relationship should be easy. If I have to explain how I feel, or if we argue, it means we are fundamentally incompatible.
So when couples have their first big argument, the fixed mindset person assumes the relationship is broken and just gives up.
Exactly, instead of seeing the argument as a normal hurdle to overcome.
That makes so much sense. So how does a growth mindset handle it?
A growth mindset approaches love differently. It recognizes that a healthy relationship requires constant work, communication, and development. You do not just find a perfect relationship, you build it together through effort and by learning about each other's needs.
Okay, here is a practical question for our listener. Is it possible to have a mix of both mindsets?
What do you mean?
For example, could someone have a completely open growth mindset about their hobbies, like learning to paint, but a deeply fixed mindset about their personal finances?
Oh, it is extremely common. Almost nobody operates with a 100% growth mindset in every single area of their life.
Really? So we are all a bit of a mix.
Totally. You might confidently believe you can learn any language in the world, but simultaneously tell yourself, I am just terrible with numbers. I will never understand how to invest my money.
So how do we fix that?
To improve, you need targeted awareness. You have to locate the specific areas in your life where your fixed mindset is hiding.
And once we find those hidden fixed mindsets, how do we actually rewire those brain paths? Since we all have these limitations hiding somewhere, we need daily tools to upgrade the operating system.
Right. Well, Dweck provides a practical toolkit for this. Changing your mindset takes time, but the brain's plasticity guarantees that it is possible. Let us discuss 4 concrete actions you can start doing today.
Okay, let's get into it. What is the first tool?
The first tool is the not yet challenge.
Applying that powerful 3-letter word to our daily frustrations.
Exactly. For 1 full week, every time you fail at a task or every time you feel frustrated and say, I cannot do this, force yourself to add the word yet to the end of your sentence.
So instead of saying, I don't understand this new accounting software, you say, I don't understand this new accounting software yet.
Right. It forces your brain to recognize that your current failure is temporary.
I love that. What is the second tool?
The second tool involves how you interact with others. You must change your praise.
Which connects directly back to the children in the puzzle experiment.
Yes. The next time you want to compliment someone, whether as a child, a friend, or a coworker, stop yourself from praising their natural talent.
So don't say you are a natural at public speaking.
Exactly. Consciously choose to praise their specific strategy or their effort. You could say, I really admire how you organized the data in that presentation. Or, I can see how much time you spent preparing for that meeting.
Because you are rewarding the process, which encourages them to keep taking on difficult challenges.
You got it.
Okay, the third tool from the sources is mindset journaling. How does writing things down help us rewire our brains?
Well, at the end of the day, sit down and write out 2 things. First, write down one situation where you chose a growth approach. Maybe you asked a colleague for help, or you tried a new way to solve a problem.
Okay, and the second thing?
Second, write down one situation where you noticed your fixed mindset taking control.
For example, today I avoided sharing my idea in the marketing meeting because I was afraid the director would think it was stupid.
Perfect example. The crucial part of this tool is that you write it down without judging yourself.
No judgment.
Right. You're simply collecting data on your own brain. You cannot change a habit until you can clearly see it.
That is powerful. And finally, the fourth tool is reframing failure, turning a stop sign into a detour sign, basically.
Yeah, that is a great analogy. When things go wrong, replace the thought I failed with a question. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this, and what will I do differently next time?
It stops you from internalizing the failure as a character flaw and turns it into an actionable lesson.
Exactly. And the goal here is not to be perfect. You will still have fixed mindset moments because, well, we are all human.
Right. It is a process.
The objective is simply to hear that inner voice, the one that says you are not smart enough. Give it a name and consciously answer back with a growth perspective.
Okay, these tools sound highly effective on an individual level. However, to give you a complete and honest picture, we must look at the limitations of this theory.
Yes, we definitely should.
Because no psychological concept is perfect, and Dweck's work has faced some significant critiques over the years. Let us take off the rose-colored glasses for a minute. Where does the book fall short, especially when we try to apply it to the real world?
The first major critique is the difficulty of adult application.
What do you mean?
Well, the book relies heavily on examples from childhood, schools, and sports. While the underlying psychology of neuroplasticity is the same, applying these ideas to an adult professional life requires a lot of personal adaptation.
Because a corporate workplace is not a kindergarten classroom.
Exactly. In a classroom, the primary goal is purely learning and development. In a business, the primary goal is often immediate results, efficiency, and profit. You do not always have the luxury of time to fail and learn.
Right. And this disconnect leads to a very dark application of the theory, which critics call the false growth mindset. Bosses can twist this positive psychological concept into a weapon to create a toxic workplace culture.
Well, it happens all the time.
Imagine a manager who gives their team an impossible goal. Maybe they demand that sales double in 1 month, but they completely cut the marketing budget.
A nightmare scenario.
Truly. When the team inevitably fails, a manager using a false growth mindset will blame the employees. They will say, you didn't succeed because you just didn't try hard enough. You lack a growth mindset.
Yeah, they use the terminology of the book to avoid taking responsibility for bad management or a lack of resources.
Yeah.
They ignore the reality of the situation and place all the blame on the individual's attitude.
And this connects directly to another major critique, the reality of systemic limits. The book largely ignores real structural barriers that exist in society.
Right, structural barriers are huge.
A growth mindset is like a powerful car engine. It is absolutely essential if you want to move forward. But if the road in front of you is blocked by a massive brick wall, those structural barriers, the engine alone is not enough to get you through. You can hit the gas pedal all you want, but you are still stuck.
That is a brilliant way to explain it. Systemic barriers are real-world problems outside of your mental control. Sometimes your effort is genuinely blocked by physical or societal realities.
Like what?
Well, you might not have the time to learn a new skill because you work 3 jobs just to pay your rent. Or you might lack the financial resources to access good education. You might be dealing with a serious chronic health issue.
And telling someone in those situations that they just need a better mindset is unhelpful and, honestly, out of touch.
Completely out of touch. The mindset is necessary to build the engine. But we cannot pretend that brick walls do not exist.
Right. And aside from the real-world application, there has also been some scientific scrutiny regarding the original experiments, hasn't there?
Yes, there has. The core concept of neuroplasticity and the benefits of a growth mindset are real and proven. However, other scientists have had a hard time reproducing Dweck's exact experimental results from her early puzzle tests with children.
Meaning they couldn't get the same dramatic results when they tried it themselves.
Exactly. In the scientific community, when an experiment is hard to replicate, it suggests that the effect might not be as dramatic or as easy to achieve as the original study claimed.
So the idea works, but the almost magical instant results described in the book might be a bit exaggerated.
Right. A quick mindset intervention like changing how you praise someone one single time is probably not enough to change their entire life.
It takes long, consistent, difficult work over years to clear those paths in the forest of your brain.
It is a lifelong practice, not a quick fix. You have to constantly tend to the paths in that forest.
Well said. Let us bring this all back to your daily life, to you, the listener, right now. If there is one core takeaway from our deep dive today, it is this. The fixed mindset turns every challenge into a threat to your identity. It makes you hide from growth to protect your ego.
But the growth mindset turns every challenge into a chance to physically rewire your brain. Recognizing the difference is not just about feeling motivated. It fundamentally changes how you process the world around you.
We want to leave you with one final specific question to chew on today. Think about your own life right now. In what specific area do you regularly tell yourself, I am simply not capable of doing this?
Is it about managing your personal finances? About speaking a new language? About standing up and speaking in front of a crowd?
Find that specific area where your fixed mindset is hiding. Now, what would happen if you forced yourself to add the word yet to the end of that sentence?
How would that one word update your operating system?
We'd love to hear your yet moments. Please share them with us in the comments. Next time you look at your smartphone and see it doing a system update, remind yourself that your brain is built to do the exact same thing. Thank you so much for joining us on today's deep dive. Keep clearing those new paths, and we will see you next time.